Hello, everybody. I hope you're having a good afternoon. I'm sorry I can't be there with you, right? I will be now at the American Literary Translators Association conference in Tucson, Arizona, and I'm very excited to be here. So I will do my presentation. I'm recording my presentation. Anyway, so I will start. This is for week 12, gender and global environmental politics. And I have 3 articles, so I will have to summarize them quickly, and I'll start now. So the first article is Gender and Environment, a Feminist Political Ecology Perspective. It is an introduction to a volume of essays and articles that look at the intersection of gender, environment, ecology, and development. This is from 1996, and what it does is it wants to it looks at stakeholders, actors, scholars, activists, and institutions, and also from economic, cultural, political, and geographical perspective. It gives a list of sort of different feminist and other perspectives that have been used, but they're trying to kind of bring them together. They see threads through these essays, and they want to bring them together into what they call feminist political ecology, which encompasses a whole feminist ecology, political ecology, feminist geography, and feminist political economy. So they're trying to think about the issue in a broader context, and also in terms of intersectionally with class, race, culture, national identity, and different experiences of the environment, which they have in parentheses, because they again look at, they have 3 categories they look at, right? So one is gendered sciences of survival, and what they're saying is in different areas, for example, what we now call the global north or industrialized countries have looked more at environmental issues in terms of quality of life, and in the global south more in terms of survival. So that these essays look at both of these things, and also they want to include people's knowledge that they have every day in the context of science. The science isn't just formal science, but there's other ways to define it, and also the environment, right? So they also look at gendered environmental rights and responsibilities, and the different ways that gender and these other categories have access to resources, make decisions about resources, what they call jure and de facto use, which is practice versus, customary versus practice, because a lot of laws are made that don't take into account what people normally do, and a lot of developmental projects are done that way too, where they go into a space with preconceived notions about who does what and what needs to be done, and it turns out that the community doesn't work that way. A lot of communities, women are farmers and they take care of water, and that has always been their responsibility, and they make the decisions, but the project doesn't take that into account. And then also in gendered way, grassroots activism and how they deal with environmental issues. The second article is The Gender Dimensions of Poverty and Climate Change Adaptation, which was written in 2008. So these authors look at the ways gender, about what it means to be poor, and for women, for gender, in terms of gender. So women and girls make up disproportionate number of the poor and marginalized. But you can't talk about poor and poor women as a generalized group and a lump, because they have different situations as well, depending upon where they are, what their issues are, and their race, class, ethnicity, and sexuality. And also men who live in poverty may have some privileges, but they also have the challenges, and they're part of families that work together. So they want to think about this, and also how people in their environment already have coping strategies and ways of adapting that could, help create solutions in their space and for other people, and that should be part of the consideration when this is studied or some activism is taking place, right? And they also want to say poverty is not just income, monetary. It also has related to health issues and stress and how people are affected by health, and that affects what they can do economically, which is true in this country as well. And land, access to land and labor markets and discrimination. And they call it poverty of time and what people can and can't do in relationship to being prepared or how they live their lives. Lack of political cloud decision making, and also when there's conflicts, either natural disasters or violent conflicts, how that affects women as well, and some of the coping strategies that they have, right? So this article is concerned with that. And then the last article is a critical feminist systems justification analysis of climate obstructionism on the part of conservative white men. And this looks at this is 2023, so it's very recent. It looks at the intersection, and from the point of view of masculinities, it looks at the intersection of hegemonic masculinity and environmental dominance, plus system justification theory and integration of critical feminist perspectives. So this is a more holistic view. And they look at what they call climate obstructionism, which is broader than climate denial, which encompasses various climate skepticisms, but this is language that sometimes is evasive. It doesn't say we don't want to make change, but that's in essence what it's saying. So they're considering obstructionism, that it's preventing change happening that will improve climate conditions. And in that respect, they talk about masculinities and how, through a lot of complicated statistical data that I'm not going to explain, they talk about, in the end, what we know kind of intuitively, that it's generally conservative white masculine men who fall on the side of climate obstructionism, and basically it's because of how they identify with wealth as an entitlement, right? I mean, a lot of white conservative men are wealthy through ways that are damaging to the environment, and they're not going to give up their identities and their wealth, and yet some will. So what they talk about how what was I gonna say? That this system justification theory and critical theory show the complex ways that men are related to identity and also environmental obstructionism. And that's 7 minutes. So that is my presentation of the readings. I'm off the clock. So now I just want to say that I'm sending a set of questions for the class to work with, and they include some videos in one web page that is related to this topic and Paraguay. So I hope that you enjoyed the class with the rest of the class. I'd love to be there for the discussion, but I won't be able to this time. So have a great class, and I will hear about what you discussed when I get back. Bye, everybody.